Hey guys, what's up? MurderofBirds here. So before we jump into the video, I just want to give a very humbled and a very sincere thank you to the guys and gals over at Viz for partnering with me once again and for sponsoring this video, as I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and my opinions and impressions on their latest publications within the RWBY series with RWBY, the official manga by Bunta. They were kind enough to provide me with an early copy for review, and to be quite honest, this manga feels like the definitive and, dare I say, the Volume 1 remaster that a lot of fans out there have been asking for and hoping for a really long time. Today we're going to be talking about RWBY, the official manga by Bunta, which will be seeing its physical and digital release on July 21st. So if you're a fan of the series, if you enjoyed this video, you're going to want to click the link in the description and the pinned comment to pick up a copy for yourself. For this official manga, Bunta seeks to retell and adapt the popular web series starting all the way back to its humble beginnings with the Beacon arc. But in doing so, he shapes out what I believe to be the closest thing to a remastered reboot of the series in a way that stays true and faithful for newcomers and longtime fans, while also having enough freedom to switch things up in a refreshing way that makes the experience somewhat new for seasoned fans as well. Now, the official manga is 192 pages, covers the first half of the Beacon arc event of Volume 1 of the animated show, retelling everything from RWBY's first encounter with Roman Torchwick to the official formation of Team RWBY and Team Juniper during the 8th chapter of the show. But I honestly feel like you're experiencing the show for the first time in a new way, and I think that's heavily credited to the fact that Bunta and Rooster Teeth now have years of experience between understanding the plot, understanding the characters, understanding the structure of the show in a way that they can retroactively tell the story and make these events of the Beacon arc a lot more of a smoother experience than they did back in the day. Now, with that in mind, let's talk about the plot first and foremost. And as I mentioned, this manga is as faithful of a retelling of the show proper as you're going to get. Fans of the series will be reintroduced to the same lovable characters with a fresh coat of paint to both their designs and their personalities, along with familiar locations, memorable story beats, and all the while this is being complemented by the very sharp and realistic art design that the manga provides. I actually think it benefits more so than anything the design of the characters, because they look believable, they feel believable, and it has a very 2D style approach as well. However, some of the liberties and changes taken in the manga, like I said, this is a faithful adaptation of the show proper in manga form, but that does not necessarily mean that this is a one-to-one comparison. There are some scenes that, as a longtime fan, you will notice, and these can be interpreted, these new additions can be interpreted as either a blessing or a curse in disguise based on the context given. For example, the manga starts off beat for beat in the same way that the show proper does. The From Dusk Till Dawn shop in Vale is getting robbed by the notorious criminal Roman Torchwick of the Kingdom and his goons, but they're quickly thwarted by Little Red herself, Ruby Rose. As he tries to make his escape, Ruby goes after him. They end up having that little skirmish on the rooftop where he throws one of his dust crystals, but she's immediately protected by that one huntress that we haven't seen for a really long time that I'm kind of forgetting her name. Oh yeah, Glinda Goodwitch. Torchwick makes off like a thief in the night. Ruby meets Ozpin. She's admitted into Beacon, and the ball gets rolling. Now, quick heads up for anybody watching, but the following information that I'll be talking about does include spoilers for the manga, so if you would like to remain spoiler free and go into this manga at your own pace, be sure to jump ahead to the timestamp provided on the screen now. But there's something that I didn't mention, and you might have noticed it. The tease of Cinder and her quick skirmish with Glinda is not included in this adaptation of the manga. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Cinderfall stans out there who are watching this video right now who aren't the happiest of campers, but in my opinion, I feel like this is a blessing change for a few reasons. Number one, Cinder remains absent for the remainder of the volume following this brief little teaser fight that she has with Glinda in the first episode, and she doesn't really become pivotal to the plot until Volume 2, so in my opinion, I feel like saving her debut for when it matters most gives Torchwick enough time. It gives Torchwick more of the spotlight and more of the center attention as the sinister antagonist of the volume, while also building up the anticipation for when Cinder will make her presence known during the Volume 2 events. Another great example of this retelling is how well Bunta showcases the internal struggles, the personal conflicts, as well as the motivations of the characters in a deep and meaningful way. RWBY is portrayed as more somber and introspective following her admission to Beacon, where she expresses a lot of self-doubt, a lot of the fact that she missed her friends, and she is kind of struggling if she made the right choice with being skipped up ahead 2 years. And she also expresses a lot of self-doubt when it comes to proving herself, reinforcing her motivations through conviction, and striving to reach her goals. This is somewhat established in the show, but it's more through RWBY's awkward social graces and less of her internal monologues or her body language. What I feel also makes these moments feel remastered and all the more entertaining is how they're heavily complemented by the dark shades and the realistic character designs with the art style. I think it carries a bit more of a mature and serious atmosphere with it, especially when you compare it to Volume 1 of the show proper, which has a very cartoony aesthetic that comes off as more playful of the show. And don't get me wrong, you know, I think that really added a lot of charm and character to the show as a whole, especially during the first couple of volumes before shit really hit the fan. But I think as a whole, with this especially being a retelling, I think the new, darker, more mature and serious aesthetic is a very much added addition that I feel a lot of people will enjoy more than anything. But without a doubt, and perhaps my favorite part of this manga, and where I think it is basically the crowning jewel of it being a retelling and, in my opinion, a very faithful remaster, is its changes in pacing and transitions between events. Do you guys remember in the show proper where from one episode to the next, it kind of seemed like there was a disconnect between events? In one episode, we're trapped in a forest. In the next episode, we're falling out of the sky. In one episode, everyone's rushing into battle, perfectly in sync with combat, but we never really saw their strategy. We never found out how they were so in tune with how they were going to take down that Nevermore or take down that Deathstalker. However, the manga immediately rectifies this in a lot of cool and interesting ways in righting the wrongs of the past and not only allowing for contextual scenes to take center stage, since, you know, runtime is a non-factor at this point, but because of that, it allows the reader to experience a complete and refined version of those events that feels equally satisfying and believable. Actually, one of my favorite examples of this, and this was one of the first times that I had a damn, I wish they had done this in the show kind of moments, was a scene between Weiss and Blake that takes place after Weiss saves RWBY from that Deathstalker attack in Volume 1, as they're coordinating their efforts to eventually go up and take down the Nevermore. And to be quite honest with you, I've been living for moments like this as I've been reading this manga over the last week. It's the 2020 hindsight vision of moments unflushed and unexplored, having a chance to live again, to be reborn, thanks to this manga's retelling. And because you know about some early events and you become invested, I feel like it's very rewarding for people to be able to say to themselves, you know, I know the events of Volume 1 in the show, and you know, you're able to compare and contrast and see how it does a really good job at retelling it from a different perspective. You know, and there are so many other moments and examples that I could give to get my point across, but honestly, I want to leave something for you guys to look forward to when you pick up the manga for yourselves. But in closing, all I can really say is that I've been a fan of RWBY for the last 7 years, and we all started here. We all started at this same point together with Volume 1, whether it was day one or over the course of the last 7 years. You know, it was creative, it was charming, it had a lot of heart, and, you know, at the end of the day, I feel like we all felt something momentous was coming with both with the show and its legacy. And because of that, there will always be a special place in my heart for Volume 1. But the work done here by Bunta Kinami in retelling, adapting, and in a way remastering the Beacon arc events is nothing short of fantastic. It takes the years of knowledge and experience following the show's humble beginnings and turns it into a faithful recreation that explores characters and events in a deep and fulfilling way, you know, and never missing a beat when getting from point A to point B. And it's because of that that I'll say that this manga is definitely worth checking out, whether you are a diehard fan, a casual viewer, or if you're someone who just got into RWBY today. It's spectacular. It really is spectacular in how it feels like I'm rewatching the show for the first time, but that first time experience is brought based on all of the new things that they changed, reinforced, refined, and improved on. And, you know, I, again, appreciate more than anything the fact that Viz was, you know, generous enough to send me an early copy, believed in me, believed in the channel and the content enough and the community enough to where, you know, they wanted me to give my genuine impressions, my thoughts, my opinions, and everything else. And hopefully that came across well in the video. I really, really do hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, I loved reading the manga through and through. For those of you who end up getting a copy for yourselves, let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. I loved it. I loved the manga. I really, really hope you guys will check it out. Like I said, links will be in the description as well as the pinned comment if you guys want to pick up a copy for yourselves, as well as people who watch this video. Let me know what you guys think about my thoughts, my expectations, my impressions, everything else like that in the comment section. Like I said, I loved it. I really hope they continue doing these with other installments and other variations for both physical and digital distribution. And, you know, I would love to cover those as well. But with all of that said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you once again to Viz for the partnership and for sponsoring this video. And as always, I will see you guys all in the next video. Take care.